we got the call from the schools, and we went and picked up our daughter from school, and then it was like overnight everything was shut down. The next day we had lost every single restaurant order. Losing those two huge revenue streams was just, I mean, it was catastrophic.
I tried to open my bar 2 days after Inslee issued a stay-at-home order.
It's been very stressful as a business owner. How do you do what's best for families? How do you keep staff safe? How do you keep staff employed? How do you pay the bills? There wasn't enough staff that could take unemployment, so we decided to keep them on, even though we knew that meant that we were running in the red and that we were losing money.
We're in the middle of a radical, I call it radical economic disruption.
What does that mean to you, radical economic disruption?
What it means to me is that businesses are finding and have to find different ways of doing business.
I was waiting in the undertow.
In early March, we saw the coronavirus really start impacting Thurston County. We started hearing about events being canceled. We heard about businesses preparing for significant layoffs, and we recognized that the impact was going to be huge on our local workforce and our local economy. Almost instantly when we saw that happen, that we, as the economic development practitioners here in Thurston County, all got together and started talking about what it was that we were going to do and how we were going to respond to this crisis. And it was really on that day that Thurston Strong was born.
It doesn't respect any municipal boundaries or jurisdictional boundaries. It just wreaked devastation on people and on the economy. And the economy and people really go hand in hand. And because of that, that's how we approached our response to it.
One local government or one entity could not do this alone. There were too many different things going on. Communication was changing, and other organizations had different strengths and weaknesses. And so pulling those strengths and weaknesses together into a common approach became invaluable.
We really started taking stock of what are the challenges our community is facing, and then how can we fill that? How can we best be a resource and a guide within our community?
I was in the room for that first meeting on March 13th, and it was a collaborative effort. The members around that table wanted to make sure that there was a collaborative and coordinated response to the pandemic, and so that's why Thurston Strong exists.
And I was waiting in the undertow. Said a drip fell away like balls, unaware where my heart would flow. I was waiting in the undertow.
A lot of the help that was out there for small businesses was geared to businesses that had employees. And we don't have employees, we're just too small.
I was pretty excited to hear about the PPP until I found out that you had to be an established business for a year or more. Getting the keys on January 1st, 2020, obviously not established for a year or more.
But in March, we went from being full to having half the amount of kids that we had. So our income basically just cut in half. That's really scary, thinking about, what do we do now? What resources do we have?
We've been pretty tied in with Thurston County and the Economic Development Council, and we're on the mailing list. And so when an email came through that had the link to the grant, we were like, yeah, we should do this.
With the PPP not being available, the Thurston Strong grants were that much more important and valuable to me.
The Thurston County grant was more than I would have expected to get. It was a big chunk of that lasted us for a while, and that's helped us stay in business and continue doing what we need to do and keep my focus on the families and kids instead of on the stresses of how am I going to make the bills.
All three grants were an integral part of us still having our lights on, having food to serve people, getting our outdoor dining ready. So it really allowed us to adjust to the regulations that the governor has placed and make the best of it.
As business owners, you have so many other things on your mind, much less COVID, but that one added piece of it being simple for us to be able to navigate, it wasn't complicated, that piece was amazing.
For us, we're very motivated, despite all the setbacks of farming in a pandemic, to survive and endure so that people will begin to think, okay, this was a good thing. When times were tough and when I didn't know when food was going to be restocked in the grocery store, my local farmer was able to feed me. Let's have more of those.
I'd just like to say thank you to everybody that's helped kind of get these funds to us and other small businesses, and help small businesses in the community stay alive.
Honestly, a lot of these local businesses wouldn't be around without programs like Thurston Strong.
During Thurston Strong, this was really an incredible showing of collaboration.
I'm hoping that we'll be positioned well for a quicker recovery because of our efforts.
So an economic recovery to me would look like a reset of the local economy.
I think everybody has recognized that we don't want to just simply go back to exactly what we had. We want to move forward to something better, something that is more just, something that is more equitable, something that is more resilient and sustainable.
I'm proud that we were able to acknowledge that in order to get to recovery and reset and resiliency, that you need this diverse kind of thinking. And we still have more work to do around that.
And I think because we learned how to work together and address such a complex problem in rapid time, that we are way better positioned to create the future that we want as a community.
How do you tackle the issues around dismantling poverty? How do you bring more employers to the table to make sure that they understand that they have a role in making this an equitable community?
Communities that band together and develop regional strategies will be that much stronger, and that will come out of this recession, or whatever we're going to call it, better, more equipped. But we have to keep the eye on that. What's going to happen at the next disruption, 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road? Let's set the table today so we know that when that happens, we're ready for it. I believe that Thurston County's stronger and will come out of this stronger than it was before.